Assalomu alaykum, hurmatli talabalar. Zerik qomadinglarmi kutib? Hozir mana bizning mehmonlarimiz Qulix kompaniyasi Belarusiyani 2000-yil tashkil topgan. Shu hozir 20 yildan oshiq davr mobaynida shu IT tizimlar ishlab chiqish bo'yicha tajribaga ega. Hozirgi paytda dunyoning boshqa davlatlarida ham Belorusiyadan boshqa Buyuk Britaniyada bor. Shu Polshada bor, shular qatorida mana O'zbekistonda ham ochilyapti. Shunga mana Xudo xolasa katta ofislari bo'ladi. O'sha sizlar tugatguncha katta bizda ham bir kadrlar kerak bo'ladi. Shungacha sizlar birgalikda partnyorство qilib turib tayyorlab boramiz shu bo'yicha. Kimlar qiziqadigan savolinglar bo'lsa tayyorlab turinglar. Hozir sizlarga shu kompaniya haqida va IT kasbi haqida ma'lumot beradilar.
So I'm not sure how it was presented, but I will just present myself so you can get acquainted with me. I'm Alexander Slibowski. I'm CTO of Qulix company. Qulix is an international company. We link great people with great ideas. We work across the globe. I will let you know a bit more about our company very soon. And I will share what core fundamental principles of working in our company. I will share what is required to be successful on this market, to be successful in IT. So try not to fall asleep too fast, please. It will not take a long time. Qulix, as I said, is an international global IT company. We are located in several cities across the globe. It's Liverpool, Minsk, Wrocław, and obviously Tashkent. But these are only about offices. Actually, our people, our guys, work all over the globe. Some guys work even from Thailand, some from Austria, some from the US, and so on and so forth. So we have plenty of locations where our guys are located. And we are fundamentally very good in several domains. For example, fintech, social care, banking, healthcare. So historically, we've developed a lot of systems in these domains. That's why we're very well known in some areas, and we have many awards in these areas. Like we are top 10 banking companies in the CES region. For several years, were represented as the only CES company in International Banking Award in London, and this year as well. So we are very well known in fintech. In Great Britain, in the UK, our system developed for social care is the top one for usage in social care area by government. We're top one company in Australia in social care for 2 or 3 years. I don't remember exactly. So if you're interested, you can Google us and you will find it right from the spot, because we're in top 100 IT companies in the world. So it's quite a big, interesting opportunity to work with us, but it's a big challenge, and I will show why very soon. Just a few words about our history. Actually, we have started in the beginning of this century as QA company. So we were all testers, me too. So for 2 years, we worked only as a quality assurance, only as tester. No programmers, no DevOps, no other engineers, pure testers for 2 years. And in 2 years, we understood that we break software, and not only software, our chairs as well, very good. So in 2 years, we decided that if we break so good, why not to create something? And we started developing as a programming company. We started with 3 technologies. Probably you're aware of them. It's .NET, it's Java, and it's mobile. But it's not iPhone or Android mobile. Nobody heard about them that year. It was WinMobile, BlackBerry. I doubt that many people can remember about these mobile technologies at all. we have started so good that we developed and work across the globe now, and that's why we have offices in so many cities. We're probably on every continent, no, except for Antarctica. Unfortunately, United Nations doesn't allow us to work with penguins. Otherwise, they will be also with Qulix. I'm very sure about it. Yeah, it's about history, so let's move on to our services. Yeah, as you can see, software development is just one of our services. We're actually a bit wider than just software development. It's about quality assurance, emerging technologies, it's about consulting, managing, DevOps, blockchain, whatever you can imagine now, we try to do that. And that's because we have our own approach on developing new technologies. Whoever works in a company can come to me as a head of research and development, or come to their manager, or come to their head of department, for example, and say, hey, I've heard about this technology, I want to develop it, I want to learn it. And we evaluate this technology. We try to understand if it works well, if it's worth investments. We have our architectural group, and if this architectural group decide that this is what will be prospective, then we start developing it. We invest in it. We allow our people to learn it and to open their own direction. For example, one of my guys came to me and said, like, I'm fed up with software development. I like to develop hardware. I like to develop some IoT systems. We investigated this topic and we have opened Internet of Things direction. We're the first company in Belarus who worked with NB-IoT as a protocol. We were the first company in Belarus who introduced with A1, its mobile operator, one of the biggest mobile operators in Europe. Alongside with them, we introduced IoT in Belarus. And this guy became a head of IoT department in our company, just because he was initiative. Another topic was AI/ML. Our architectural group decides like that it is very interesting, let's try it. We investigated several times. Actually, I'm artificial intelligence specialist by my education itself, so yeah, I know this topic quite well, but it was a bit dead for 10 years probably, and then at some point it appeared again. We investigated it, and here we are. We have AI/ML specialists in-house, developed from scratch, just because we thought and we believed that this is what is future for. And again, people who want to develop here, they have opportunities, they can come, and if they will be persuasive enough, and if they want it in reality, not just like a hype, it is possible. But another example that why we evaluate it still is, for example, Angular first version. I'm not sure that you have heard about it, but it was very hyped. Many people wanted to use it, to develop using it, but we investigated this topic and find out that it's a dead-born child, so not for a long time it will exist. And we stopped developing of it, and we were right. It was existing probably for 2-3 years only, and after that it was switched. And now specialists who learned how to problem this technology needed to totally reinvest their time in other technologies. So from one hand, we offer opportunity. From another hand, we try to restrict to what will be prospective, to what will be useful. So you won't get into a trap of some hype, of what will be just popular for a spark of time. Okay, yeah, this is actually a picture of one of our offices. I don't like it, sorry. Yeah, really. We have, in every office, we have different, like furniture, we have different view. So teams decide, big teams, departments decide how they want their office to look like. We rely on people very much. So if you look at all our offices, you will find that they're all different, totally different. One office, this department decided that they want this way. Like if you come to our Tashkent office, it's completely different. No walls at all. Everyone sits in smaller rooms. Everyone can collaborate. Everyone can speak. So it's totally different approach. Just because we decided that this way will be better for Uzbekistan office, for you as a potential employees of our company. Why I described our approach, fundamental approach to evaluate things, evaluate technologies. I want to share with you one or probably a bit more principles that we built our hiring process and education process. And this is very important. Principle number one that we use is fundamental knowledge. We are fond of fundamental knowledge. We do not teach tools, libraries, probably even some frameworks, just as tools. We're seeking for people who want to understand fundamentals of the technology they use, the core, the understanding how it works under the hood. And this brings a lot of difficulties to potential employees from one hand and a lot of opportunities from other hand. Why? Because if you just learn a tool, a library, one approach, something like that, then when you need to switch this tool, when they removed, probably upgraded or outdated already, you need to learn from the scratch. And you will learn just another tool, just another library. I have spoken to the rector today, and I was impressed that this university share the same principles. And that's great, because when you learn something fundamental, first of all, you think that, it's a boring thing. Give me some library, give me some tool. I will just finish this task in one day. No, we do not allow to do this. We know that you can finish this in one day, probably in 1 hour sometimes, but we will urge you to learn how it works under the hood, so you will finish it in 2 weeks. And then, when you understand it, it will be no matter what you use. You will understand how it works, you will understand internals of it, and you will be able to switch technologies, approaches, and this will pay back enormously if you're of a mindset of engineer, because we're looking for engineering mindset. We're trying to develop engineering mindset rather than monkey development or something like that. And just a couple of examples. One guy came to our company with no experience at all. He didn't know any language. He wanted to be .NET C# specialist. But we saw that he was very peculiar on how he develops. He was very fond of fundamental things. And we get him, we taught him. He worked in a company for about 5 years. I don't remember exactly. But guess what? He decided to leave the company. That happens, okay. And he decided to leave the company to switch it to Facebook in London. And now he works in Facebook in London with his wife and his kid. He lives there. But if you know Facebook or Meta currently, you know that they don't have .NET or C#. But he was a .NET specialist. And now he works as AI ML specialist, providing A/B testing for their models. No C# at all. I talked to him probably a month ago, and he said, I didn't see C# at all for a year. or something like that. But he was a C# specialist. But because he understood engineering principles, he was engineer, he understood algorithms very well, he understood patterns, he could switch it to AI/ML instead of being a C# developer. Yeah, another example is me, actually. For example, I was a tester, then I switched to Java development, but I learned Java from the scratch. I have bought this book, J2EE. It was boring book. I read it like at nights because I needed to work and to learn it at the same time. I was studying at the university at that time. I understood the principles. I liked the principles, but I didn't like Java. Sorry, guys. I know that many of you are from Java. Yeah. It was not just. It wasn't my language. I don't know if you understand this, but sometimes you feel it. That okay, it's not something that I want to work in, but I like these principles, and I switched to C# in a blink of an eye. Probably in a week I got a new job, just a C#. And then I grew up in 2 years. I became from non-experienced tester, learning for Java, to architect in .NET, and now I'm a CTO of a company. So no matter what, if you have fundamentally right mindset and you try to develop it, you will get what you need and what you want and what is best for you. Yeah. Also, one more thing about this approach is that when you come to an interview, I know that all of you want to know how to pass interview, right? And many people, before the interview, they try to Google, okay, top 10 questions for Java interview. Great, I will learn these questions, I will go, I will pass interview, I will be there, I will ask for $10,000 from first month because I have answered 10 questions right. Okay, that's not about our company at all. On the interview, we don't like asking questions from the list and expecting answers for this question. It's not at all, it's not our approach. Moreover, if we ask for a question and you answer academically, then it's a red flag for us. Probably you have just learned how to answer, but not how to think. So usually we ask for a mind expression, right? So we ask people questions that allow us to uncover their understanding of principles. If you answer, for example, what is polymorphism, right, that's great. If you answer it academically, okay, let's go deeper. We will try to understand if you know the principles, if you know the definition of these principles, or if you know the principles itself. We will ask you to write a piece of code, for example, or we will ask you to understand, or to explain, what will be if we change different parts of the equation or different parts of the definition and so on and so forth. So, and if you understand that, if you understand the principles, then you will not fail this question. But if you just learned the definition, it's not for our company. Though there are a lot of companies that will accept this behavior and that will welcome this behavior. And I don't say that we're better than them, I say that we are different. You need to find the company that suits better for your mind. If you are for fundamental knowledge, if you are for understanding, working from the deep, from under the hood, then it's a kind of companies that we are. If you're just for tools, libraries, and for quick results, it's probably a wrong company to come for. Yeah, it's like anti-advertisement could look like, but I want everyone to find their dream job, not like my dream job or Zuckerberg's dream job or their father's mother's dream job. They need to listen to their heart as well. This topic, what I want also to share with you is how we work with people and how we develop them. First of all, we feel like a family. We try to be a family. It could sound strange nowadays, right? Like, what family? I have a family. But we try to make people feel good at their workplace. For example, it's easier to explain in Russian, of course, than in English, because in English you have only one word, you, right? But in Russian you have ty and вы, so different words, right? In our company, we speak to each other ty, so it's personal you, because we feel that we are quite equal and you should be able to come free to your lead, to your manager, and to have a conversation with them. It's not like, okay, you will come to your manager will tell you and you hop and go and do something. No, that's not about us. We want you to understand the problem that manager wants to solve. And if you know the better way of it to be solved, you have to tell about that. So we want to build an environment when you can share your thoughts, your ideas, when you can discuss, when you can get feedback and provide feedback to each other as well. We organize a lot of meetings, a lot of team buildings. It was last Friday, yeah, when we went to Chaykhona. Sometimes we went to cafes, other places. We organize online meetings twice a week. How our big department, it's more than 150 people. Everyone who wants, usually it's about 20 people, can join 15 or 30 minutes meeting just to discuss non-working things. Because we understand that we're here, yeah, for work, but we're all people. We all want to know each other, and we all want to be with each other. We spend with each other 8, 9, 10 hours per day. So why not to spend this time with great people? Actually, it's a funny fact that one audit company came to us, and not only to us, they were from Germany, and they analyzed companies in Belarus. And that time we were mostly in Belarus, and now we're mostly in Poland, but still. And they found out that the biggest amount of girls in all Belarusian companies were in our company. And biggest amount of families and couples were in our company as well. And they were like, what do you do here? Do you work? Or it's a marriage company? What? Yeah, but I evaluate it as a sign of that we in the right direction of building a good and healthy relationship between people. And you can see this number, 89%. Usually retention rate is about 50-60. What's the retention rate is how many people want to stay in a company this year or didn't leave the company this year. Usually people work for a company for, 2 years, right? I'm here for more than 20 years. We have many people who work in our company, who have been working in our company for 5, 10, 15 years. It's more than 60 people already now. You can imagine, right? It's not just 2 years, and we try that people can develop in our company, grow in our company. And for this, we build a framework. We have very clearly defined career path, so everyone can see, developer, tester, business analyst, project manager, can see that what are requirements for junior developer, for middle specialist, for senior tester, for anyone, any level of specialist. And if they want to achieve this level of specialism, they can read the requirements, they can read the literature. We also provide a list of recommended literature and understand what's necessary to grow into this direction. And that's it. So we have clearly defined path for everyone. and everyone can understand it. Then, when a newcomer comes to our company, we assign a mentor. Of course, level of mentorship depends on the level of newcomer. If it's a newbie, if it's a beginner with no experience or junior, then mentor will spend time like explaining, speaking, checking, tasking, reviewing code. If it's a senior specialist, it will be like more body, the person who try to help to onboard, to answer different questions, and so on and so forth. We also organize many internal workshops. It's courses, it's meetings, it's seminars, anything that helps developers, testers, or other specialists to grow. And also, on a monthly basis to our employees, we provide some small amount of money they can spend purely on buying some courses or educational programs or something like that. And if you work for several years in our company, then we provide a quite big amount of money, I don't remember, around $300 or even more dollars, so we can buy some expensive courses or pay for some program. So we keen on and we are fond of developing people, and we are very glad when people that come to us constantly develop. And here you can see our technology profile, right? Technologies that are mostly used in our company. This is not full list, and to be honest, there are a lot of libraries, frameworks, and so on and so forth. So this slide probably very frequently updated, and in a half of a year it should be a different slide actually, because there will be different technologies, there will be new ones. But you also may say that some technologies are missing, like for example PHP. We do have PHP developers, but we also see that this technology is decreasing significantly. And in a world where we work, it's not small sites, it's not small companies, it's usually big enterprises, it's big bank and fintech and so on organizations. They do not use this stack of technologies. But we try not to dismiss people who, for example, for PHP or who were programming on C. We try to provide them possibility to learn something new. For example, one guy came to us, actually he didn't have any IT education, he was a teacher of physics at school. He came to us at the age of about 30 or something like that, and said like, I want to be a programmer. And he started as a junior at 30, PHP developer. And he developed to a senior level, and at some point we understood that PHP is no longer right direction for development, just because big companies doesn't want it. So we switched him to a front-end development, and now he is main front-end architect in our company. So yeah, he's very aware of React, Vue, Angular, Node.js, and everything about that. So we provide these opportunities, and we like when people understand that some technologies may be falling and they need to switch to another technologies. And that where our approach for seeking for fundamental knowledge is helping a lot. Because if you don't have this fundamental knowledge, okay, you will continue working with, I don't know, WordPress or something like that, and that's it. And you won't be able to switch to something new. Yeah, so then we have opened our office in Uzbekistan. It was last week. We have opened it for employees. It's not fully opened, like your university is still developing, right? Our office and our company in Uzbekistan is still being developing. It's early days of our presence here, but I hope for a long life. And we're here to find new people, new talents, but not only. We're here for find new contacts, probably new clients as well. And if to speak about clients, you may see like a short list of them. Actually, we have several hundred clients, so we cannot put on this slide even a half of them. And unfortunately, biggest clients don't allow us to put them in this list because of non-disclosure agreement, but you may know probably some names here. I don't know, if you see them, who knows at least one company here? Okay, I want to rate 2 companies. Okay, still 3 companies. Okay, so someone still knows European and American companies. You should probably know this one. It's United Nations organization. So yeah, Orange and Vodafone are the biggest mobile operators in Europe and one of the biggest mobile operators in the world overall. I heard radio, the biggest radio in the USA. Our mobile client for it, it's pure hour development. Probably you know this car. Not sure because I saw only Chevrolet here, but yeah, there is such car as Volkswagen. Yeah, you may meet them in some countries of Europe, especially in Germany. Yeah, and because we have such a big list of good customers and we have very, very good reviews and testimonials, our CEO and our company is included into a Forbes list of technology advisory. So, do you know Forbes? Someone? Yeah? Yeah, it's the company that provides list of the richest guys, the smartest guys, the biggest companies, and CEO of our company is included in this list as on technical advisory board. So you can imagine the level of clients and the level of tasks that is behind us. Okay, that's it about company. Probably you have any questions about company before I will go to my second part.
I wanted to ask about junior Django programmer. I have some experience and I wanted to ask, can I go to work or be a family of this company?
What kind of programmer do you?
I'm a backend developer. I work in Django.
Java.
And also in frontend, I work in React. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. I will stay on this topic a bit later on what technologies we would recommend and so on and so forth. For sure. So now, for example, we have opened internship for .NET specialists, but we have already relocated here several Java specialists, including senior developers as well. So we're expecting to open internship or even hiring of Java specialists, React specialists, and so on and so forth in the nearest future. I cannot guarantee you that you will join a company for sure, because only 4% of people who come to our interview can pass our interview. But yeah, if you pass it, then yeah, you're in the best 3%. Okay, thanks for the question.
Can you tell me about the location of new office in this country?
Mustaqilik 130, right?
Yeah, okay.
It's near Pushkin metro station.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
Yeah, so yeah, when I was first time here, I was one of the people who chosen this office location. I was told that, okay, it's a nice location, but president go there very often, Okay, that probably very interesting experience to meet him on my way to work. Yeah.
My question is, we should learn not just from successful histories, but from mistakes too. And my question is, what was the biggest mistake of this company or fail of this company, and what did you do at that time?
Wow, good question, very good question. The biggest mistake, yeah, I know. So one day, it was back to 2002, 3, I don't remember. One company came to us and asked to develop a system, but they didn't have money. So they offer us stocks on New York Stock Exchange for a company called, doesn't matter, I will tell you later. So we looked at this stock and the price sinking. And our CTO, main CTO of a group, said like, what for? It's company that will sink soon, and I don't even bother to understand what they will develop in the future. And this company called Apple, if we agreed to get these stocks instead of money, I don't think I would stay here. Sorry, yeah, probably, or at least I will probably arrive here by helicopter or something like that. What we have learned is not to look at the current situation around something, around technology, around companies, around potential partners, but to look at prospects, to look at fundamentals of a company, and if the company has fundamentally right direction, then go with it. After this question, no one wants to answer.
How do you know if your employee is the best match for like field? If he is a programmer in software development or AIs, how you help him? Or for your employee, how you care about that?
How do we help to find the best place?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, great. So yes, we try a lot. For every employee, as I said, we have a mentor, right? And we have reporting, and we have one-to-one meetings. And if during these meetings we understand that, not only during these meetings, after reporting from mentors, from project mentors, we understand that someone struggling, then we can offer, first of all, we have approach of several no's, right? This approach means that when you analyze poor performance of someone, then you should understand if they have enough knowledge, if they have enough help, if they have enough tools, if they have enough time, and so on and so forth. And the last question in this list, if it's right for them. And if we understand that all these ifs are covered with yes, so they have enough time, they have enough tools, they have enough help from mentors and so on and so forth, but they're still struggling, and they have enough will to do something, then we can offer them to switch to another role. I actually saved this story for my further speech, but I will share that with you. We had a developer, junior developer. She was a junior developer in JavaScript, in React, for probably 2 years, or almost 3, I don't remember exactly, but the matter is that in 2 or 3 years, usually, junior developer becomes regular specialist. And we analyzed that she has not very good performance in this area. She wants, but for some reason she cannot do this, what we require from her, React development. And we analyzed what she is good in, and we switched her to QA automation in JavaScript. So we understood that React is not her, but she was good in JavaScript as core. So we tried to think, what are other alternatives? And we understood that alternative not in front end, but we had QA. And now she is lead of QA automation of one of projects.
What kind of skills do we have, rather than programming skills? I mean, technical skills, like fundamentals. What should we learn to get an offer to be a part of your company?
Okay, thanks. Apart from hard skills, right? First of all, usually, very often, people ask me, especially that know IT people, what language should I learn to get to a company? I say not C#, not Java, English. It's the very first skill that you need to learn. It's a language. Second, it's soft skills. Especially if you want to work with, for example, American company or European company, soft skills prevail. So they look for soft skills more than for hard skills. Moreover, when we hire people to our company, if we have a choice, great in hard skills, but how to say it polite, not very good in soft skills, so toxic people we call it. But he could be genius, but toxic genius, we won't hire them at all. If he has fundamental knowledge, but lacks of some hard skills, but great in soft skills, we would hire them. And very important here is education. I mean, ability to self-educate. It's one of the greatest abilities, because if you constantly need a mentor, you will stop your development as soon as you get regular, or even earlier. So ability to self-educate, ability to work hard on your own is a key. Yeah, very often you need to be put into limits, to some borders to develop, to follow the plan, but still you should have ability to do it by your own, not because someone stays near you with, I don't know, some stiletto or something like that and kicks you every time when you cannot do something. Did I answer your question?
Why did your family or team choose Uzbekistan to work? Why not Kazakhstan or another industrialized countries?
Thanks, yeah. Great question, because I'm asked this question very often, especially like in Europe, and Belarus, like, Uzbekistan? Why not Kazakhstan? Right? Because to be honest, especially in Europe, and I don't say about America, what is ending by stan, they don't know these countries usually. It's like Belarus. Like, Belarus, where is it? It's in the center of Europe. What? I thought that Europe is a country. No. So with Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Armenia, and so on and so forth. We analyzed in October, probably, October or November last year, so it wasn't this year when we made this decision. We analyzed several factors, and what attracted us the most is that government of this country tries to invest in education. We think that education is fundamental for development of a country. So if government doesn't invest in education, then this country won't live long. This will be, I don't know, a herd of sheep, and that's it. And we were very impressed how much government of Uzbekistan invests in education and how much they invest in right directions. They allow to open private universities. They allow people to work. They allow people to find their dream jobs. They allow women to work. They allow girls to study, and so on and so forth. This is very, very right in comparison with many, many other countries.
Thank you for coming here. So my question, can you tell us about the workers' daily routine? What do they do? When do they start working? Is there a relaxation time? Is there weekend? And how many times do they go to vacation in a year or in a month?
Okay, so yeah, there are people who want to know about how to work, and there are people that want to know how to rest. That's a good question as well. So yeah, I can say about daily routine because most people work from home, and I don't visit their homes to see how they work, to be honest. Luckily for them. We do not have strict requirements on where to start. You can sleep how much you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. The thing is that you need to attend meetings, and these meetings could be like on predefined times. Usually it's, for example, 11, 12 Minsk time or Polish time, it's about 2 p.m. Tashkent time. Then it could be at 6 Minsk time, it's 8 p.m. Tashkent time. So if you work for Western countries, for Western companies, then probably you will need to get up a bit later. But if you're a developer that do not interact with a customer, then you need to attend only internal meetings. And these internal meetings usually during normal working day. So the only thing that you need to be clear and transparent on when you work. So leads, managers know that you work at this period of time. And this is very important because meetings you need to attend immediately. Like if it's for 11 a.m., you should be there at least 1 minute before 11 a.m. or at 11 a.m. the latest, because many other people will wait for you otherwise, or you will miss a very important part. So like, okay, I will be like later for 5 minutes. No, it doesn't work. So you need to be there. But usually people, as far as I know, they get up, someone goes to gym, someone goes straight to work, someone prefers to work early bird, someone prefers to work later, so at night all, right? Different people, different needs. You can work like 4 hours, then have a break for 2 hours, 3 hours, if you agree this break with the manager, and then work 4 hours later. It doesn't matter. What is matter that you need to finish your tasks. You need to be responsive when you are needed, and not that you should attend your workplace at a certain period. Then about weekends. Yes, we have weekends. Moreover, some people ask me to, like, I want to work more than 40 hours a week. I usually don't allow this, or because you need time for self-development, and you need time for, not resurrection, but for rest, for mental rest. If you don't have time to rest your mind, for mental rest, if you don't have time and possibilities to switch to another kind of job, right, then you will burn out. I don't need to burn out you. I want you to work 5, 10, 15 years with me, not to work for 1, 2 years and then, okay, go out, you're burned. No, I'm keen on long-term relationship, and our company is for long-term relationships, not just to use people. That's why, yeah, we have vacations, 21 working day now, right? 21 working days. Usually it's split into parts, 2 weeks and week and a half. We have also 3 personal days. I'm not HR, sorry, I don't remember all the numbers. 3 personal days, so it's a day when, for example, you feel under the weather, right? And you don't want to go to a doctor for sick leave official, to sit in hospitals, and so on and so forth. You understand that next day you will be okay. 3 times a year you can get it. You can have a rest at your home, you can recover, and go to work without need to go for a sick leave or something like that. Because we care that when you go to a hospital, likely you will get another disease, rather than you will get some cure for it. Probably, did I answer all your question? Yeah?
I'm really interested in it, and I can't wait to hear it. Can you tell us about the salaries?
We pay salaries. Did I tell about salaries? Right. Salaries. Interesting question in terms of its how to say it correctly, not to be understood wrongly. If you go to IT for a salary, better not to go to IT. IT is not about salaries. Work is not about salaries at all. If you work hard, if you work in the right direction, if you work like in right place, and if you feel that it's yours and you master it, salary will come. I have never worked for salary. I switched my job from, it was in 2001 probably, from $300 it was huge money that years. It was like probably 1,500 now, so it was very big money. To salary 6 times lower. So imagine going from like, I don't know, $1,200 to $200. I did this switch. I never regretted it. Because nowadays I have a bit more, not a bit, but yeah, more. So never go for work for a salary. It shouldn't be your primary aim, primary goal. It comes with a good skills and good level. You could start with, I don't know, $300. That's not, and easily can get to, I don't know, 1,500 in 1 year. You could start with 500, and in 2 years it will be just 600. So I cannot predict a salary. What can I say? That if you develop yourself right, then salary will come definitely.
How many seats can you create for working of programmers till 2024 or around 3 years?
I can create thousands of seats. I'm not one guy, right? I cannot predict how it all develops. Now we have an office for 50 people, right? And we hope to fill it next year, probably earlier, I don't know. But you saw this slide, right? How we developed. Usually it's plus 15–20% per year. Sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 40 per year, sometimes it's 100 per year. But it depends on many factors. We are still young on this market. Probably it will go so well that we will double figures every half of a year, and we will need to close our office near President Chaussee, and open another office for 1,000 people. Probably it will go not that good, and we fill our office in like 2 years or something like that. We're ready to expand. Our company is scalable. We know how to scale. We know how to organize new working place. So it's a matter of customers and readiness of the market.
Which companies do you consider as competitors in fintech or deep tech spheres?
In fintech, it's hard to say because we do not provide pure product. We are not like box products company, right? We have our own fintech product called Stand For, but it's for banks to create their DBO systems. So several very large banks have in Russia, in Kazakhstan, in Ukraine have this. So mostly it's in fintech area. These are companies that provide omni-channel systems, right? The different companies. But as we're a generic provider, then our main competitors, the same competitors that in Belarus, that's like we came together here. It's like EPAM, e-transition, IT card, and so on and so forth. Okay, good. Can I go to the next part? Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon, I'm Aziz. So, from where did the name Qulix come?
No one knows. It was a free domain .com area. Actually, Qulix came from quality. So we started as a quality assurance company, as a testing company. So we tried to find some word that represent quality. Everything with quality was used and busy or sounded not very good. And then someone said, no one even remember who did say that, like Qulix, not cool, Q, quality, okay, we will be a cool company. And yeah, here we are, Qulix, and then it said Qulix. Okay, let's go then for my second part. Second part is directions that we see that now emerging or very popular on Western market. As we are mostly concentrated on Western market and Europe and America, I won't tell you about all directions. I will tell you about what we face usually and what is very developed in enterprise, fintech, banking, social care, healthcare. So in big companies area, not small companies mostly. So take this into account as well. Because if you want to work in a very small company, like 2, 3, 5 people, it will, hello? Yeah. It will definitely stop working. It will definitely require different skill set. I will touch it a bit. So imagine what IT is not only about programming. IT also about many other things. Please do not become programmers just for money. It's incorrect. Do not think that I will go and become a programmer and I will earn a lot of money, I will be rich. That's not right. You will be ill, most likely. Because in the last 2 years, many people became sick who become a programmer. They burned out, they lost their mental health, and I met such people. It's not a very good picture. If you want to spend, then you earned money to cure yourself and to retire at 40, okay, go with it. But moreover, in some periods of time, programmers were not the biggest paid. For example, at some point it was testers, it were automation engineers, and nowadays probably automation engineers earn even more. At some point it was analytics, nowadays it's product manager. So there are a lot of professions that you have to consider if you feel that probably programming is not right for you. Because it's nothing bad about it, it's normal, it's good. Some professions are better for some mindset. Another profession is better for another mindset. As I said, I was a tester, then I switched to Java, then I switched to C#. Now I'm a bit different. I'm project manager and CTO. So go for it. As also I made an example about a girl who switched from front-end development to automation. That's normal. So listen to yourself, understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses, and you will find the right place, right technology. But still, I will start from programming because you're mostly aware of it. In programming, there is a quite clear separation now between backend and frontend. Even 10 years ago, there were almost no such separation. I was called Java or C# specialist, but I had to know frontend. It went without a doubt and without any words. Like, if you call yourself .NET specialist, you have to know frontend. That's it. Full stack, that's it. We didn't hear this word full stack because what full stack? Everyone is full stack. Nowadays, backend developers and frontend developers in many countries and companies are separated. Still, there is a trend to get it again on full stack basis. If we talk about backend development, one of the most popular languages is Java. But not pure Java. Okay, there is no whiteboard. Okay, I will try to. Okay, it's not only Java, because Java is very good for start, but in many ways I'm sorry, this is how I write. I'm most used to type than to write. Java goes to Kotlin. Do you know Kotlin? Great. So in many companies, they already require you to know Java and Kotlin, or Kotlin, because Kotlin allows you to work on backend and on mobile, right? Because even Google announced that Java will go away on mobile, so there will be Kotlin. And many companies consider Kotlin as a main language. But if you know Java, that's great. It will be easier for you to learn Kotlin. Then it also can go to Scala. Do you know Scala? I doubt it, because it's very, very rare language. And usually Java guys who goes for money goes for Scala. Because Scala, especially older version Scala 2, this is a language for big data and high load systems, extremely high load systems. So in high load systems, it's Scala 2, or someone tries to implement Scala 3, but it's not live. It's not live for 5 last years probably. It will probably never go live, no one knows. So it's very worrying way to go, because you may end up supporting legacy systems, though you may earn a lot of money, because no one wants to use this language, so you will be a rare specialist. Here we are. Yeah, sometimes I actually used to work on mainframes, IBM mainframes, so there is language COBOL, and now American government looks for a COBOL specialist ready to pay, I don't even remember how many zeros in this number, but the thing is, there is no one wants to learn this language. Another backend language is, not language, it's a platform, .NET. You don't have .NET here, do you? Yet, yeah? So .NET, usually it was VBNet, but now it's C# mostly. It gets the best from Java and the best from C, but nowadays Java got a lot of things from .NET, like enumeration, structures, and so on and so forth. But what is good about .NET? .NET usually is not used for fintech banking companies. It's rarely used there. Still, it's used. It's usually used on, like, for example, real estate, ed tech, some lightweight big techs. So not that fundamental, like financials, banking, or investments, or something like that. So it's lighter. But because of instrumentary, tools for .NET is much better than tools for Java, just because Microsoft likes making tools, not mobile applications. And .NET have backend. It has WPF as a desktop, and it has Xamarin or Maui. Do you know Xamarin, Maui? It's competitor of Flutter, of React Native, so it's very good hybrid mobile platform. And the advantage of knowing C# and .NET is that if on Java you usually develop on Android devices, right, then on .NET using C# you can develop on any devices using Xamarin. So it's mobile, it's backend, and then you can also work on using Blazor on front end. But it's mostly widespread in the USA. For example, in Europe, they mostly have native applications as a front end on mobiles. But in the US, especially in corporate US, in healthcare, in social care, they often have like .NET Xamarin or something like that. It's about corporate world of America. And yeah, these are very rare specialists. So Xamarin are quite rare, and if you want to like learn it, yeah, you will get as advantage in other backend technologies, .NET, C#. But again, listen to you, what is better for you. Quite popular now is Ruby. Ruby usually for geeks. Yeah, it's very good for quick prototyping. Very often it's used for scrapping, so it's writing special systems that steals or not steals, gets data from sites and so on and so forth. So scrappers, web crawlers, and so on and so forth, very often Ruby. And Ruby on Rails, great system to web development, for web development. So yeah, but again, it's completely different language. It's so not like Java or .NET. So if you don't like Java, if you don't like C#, look at Ruby. Probably you like it. So that's why I mentioned it. Then it's Go, or it's also sometimes called Golang. This quite fresh and new. It's not new, but on the market, on the labor market, it's quite fresh, not many specialists in it. And this language is for high load, high speed systems. For example, stock exchange, or dating, or messaging, or IM. So it's for very, very fast multi-threading, multitasking systems. So if you like to develop them, then yeah, Go. And it's not object-oriented programming language. So again, if you don't understand polymorphism, abstraction, and all this stuff, try Golang. Probably you like it. And you don't need to learn all these design patterns, principles, and so on and so forth. It's completely different. Another language used for backend often, it's Python. But it's interesting about Python. You never know what it is used for, because some people use it for AI/ML, some people use it for DevOps, some people use it for backend development, some people use it for web development. So Python actually, it's one of the most popular languages for automation, for QA automation. So it's very useful language in terms of usability of it. It could be used in different areas. And again, it's completely different than Java, than .NET, than Go especially. So you can check it, and probably you find yourself being DevOps rather than programming. If you like working with operating systems, if you like installing, if you like working with Docker containers, with orchestration, and that's it. That's it. All about usually Python. Okay, let's go to front end. On front end, all you know is React, right? Probably I shouldn't say about it, because you know it, you know what is it, but one thing. People often think that JavaScript is dead, TypeScript, okay, you can learn it, but React you must know, or Angular you must know, or Vue.js you must know. No, you must know JavaScript or TypeScript as well. In big companies, especially if you want to go, I don't know, to Facebook, Yandex, or Sber, or something like that, they ask, on interviews especially, they ask for fundamental knowledge of JavaScript or TypeScript. For example, on React interview, they can ask you how to build components, but also they can ask you how to create, fallback functions in TypeScript or in JavaScript, or what's the difference between them. So, or closure. If you don't know what is closure, because you don't work with it in, in Angular, that's a big minus for you. So do not forget to learn, as I said, core things, JavaScript and TypeScript. In React, it's mostly, how can I clear it? Good, I should clear it all. In React, usually it's Redux and MobX, no Flux. Nowadays, Flux is not used or not widely used. So if you want to learn something in Redux and MobX, some people say that Redux is better, some people say that MobX is better. No matter, learn one of them and you will easily learn another one. Another is Angular. Oh, yeah. Be careful with that. First, Angular is dead. So if someone offers you to work on first Angular, you may go for it, but remember that you need in parallel to learn something new. Only Angular 2+, and also be careful with it, because on Western market, Angular 2, it was spiked in interest, so it overcame React. It was more widespread than React, and nowadays React is getting back for some reason. Angular is very good for those who are fond of object-oriented programming, because it supports this paradigm. React is better for reactive programming, and that's why in Angular very often RxJS is added. So if you like object-oriented programming and want to be a T-shaped specialist, then yeah, probably Angular. Yeah, and about T-shaped specialists, you know full-stack developers, right? In America, they often called T-shaped specialists because, like T, right? They know backend and they know frontend. So T-shaped specialists usually those who knows backend and knows frontend equally. And this is quite rare thing, yes. Good T-shaped specialists are very rare. So very often you can go to a trap when you're bad backend and bad frontend and you call yourself T-shaped specialist. Yeah, that happens. And you can even get a job in an American company. The only thing, you should be American for that. Because for foreigners, for some reason, if you're a T-shaped specialist, you need to be good in front end and good in back end. I don't know why, probably some cultural things, but for American developers, they have very lower expectation than for foreign developers. So better develop at least at one direction, front end or back end, with understanding. It's important to understand another direction. If you're back end, you need to understand front end. You need to understand how to talk with it. If you're front end, you need to understand how back end works, how API works, how to interact with API, how to negotiate contracts, and so on and so forth. And then, if you feel that you're good in front end, for example, you can go for back end, choosing what back end is good for you. For example, for React, people very often go for Node.js. Do you know Node.js? Next, Node.js, and so on. If you're on backend, people very often go for Angular because it's easier to understand if you're a good backend developer, how to be Angular developer. Then mobile. In mobile, it's easier. It's Swift. Objective-C is only to support legacy systems. So again, there are many systems on Objective-C, but usually they're quite legacy. And it's Kotlin, not Java nowadays, so it's about Kotlin mostly. And plenty of hybrid frameworks. It's beloved Flutter, right? Everyone wants to be a Flutter developer because it's so hype. But again, be careful, Flutter is very good for prototyping, for MVP development, for fast development, but it's not yet ready for enterprise applications. Again, if you look for startups, if you look for small companies, or if you're fond of small applications to develop to start with, Flutter is okay. Nothing wrong with that. It's just for separate domain. React Native. It's also not very enterprise-like framework. But if you know React, why not to go to React Native? But again, React Native has very hard life in terms of not many good applications is written in React Native because it's not very easy to develop. As far as I remember, Facebook even rejected their application written in React Native and now restarted rewriting it. So again, for some kind of applications, and if you're fond of React, go with it. And as I said, Xamarin. Xamarin is in .NET world, so if you like this world, then go for Xamarin. Then that's all for developers. Next thing is quality assurance specialist. So if you feel that development is not for you, think from another side. Quality assurance and quality is very important. And nowadays, it's only start developing. It's huge lack on the market for quality assurance specialists, for testers. And tester is not a person who just clicks buttons on the side. Testing is very hard in terms of you need to understand the system, you need to understand links, you need to break it. It's different kind of thinking. When developer tries to create a system, tester tries to break it. And not to fix it. So if developer see broken chair, they will fix it, and tester tries to understand how it was broken. I want to break all the chairs in this classroom. So if you feel that development is not right for you, go for testing. And I started with a tester, being a tester, and that's a good direction. Our CEO, former tester, and yeah, he's now CEO, because nowadays many people think that, oh, tester, what is that? It's just clicking on the buttons, filling some fields, and so on. No, sometimes it requires more mental strength than a development ones. And what is very important here, that, for example, in our company, about 80% of testers are girls, because they are more accurate than boys. Sorry for this, like probably sexism, but still, girls in most cases are more accurate, more peculiar to details than boys. And girls very often start like, I want to IT, but it's programming, I don't like it, what can I do? All these guys will overcome me. Go for testing, try it. Probably you find yourself very happy breaking things written by boys. It's a pleasure. From testing, you can develop to test manager, to test lead, to a manager of a project. Easier than from developer, because testing requires more soft skills than development very often, because testers collaborate with business analysts, with developers, very often with customers, with another testers, and so on and so forth. So they're more visible, and very often it's easier to develop to like higher positions. And usually developers they're introverts, sitting in a corner and writing their code, while testers speaking to these, trying to understand where a bug from, what to do, how to break it, and so on and so forth. It's different. Another profession that you can mix with a tester is QA automation. It's quality assurance automation. It's not about QA It's more about programming, but easier version of programming. You need to be very peculiar, you need to be detailed, but you still need programming skills. So if you feel that you cannot create or don't like to create probably big systems, but you want to program something, try QA automation. QA automation is possible in many, many languages. It's Java, it's Python, it's C#, in JavaScript, and even on PHP you can find E2E testing frameworks. And last year, QA automation salaries were higher than developers' salaries, if we talk about salaries. So again, and there is a big need of QA automation. And you can go from testing to QA automation if you don't like to be a developer, but you want to program at least something. Think about it. Another profession that is considered not to be technical at all, almost at all, is business analyst. Again, it's interesting that IT is always thought as technical specialty, but in our company there are a lot of non-technical guys. In testing we have chemical guys from chemistry industry, from medical industry, from schools, and in business analysis we have lots of guys from linguistic universities. So business analysts are guys, people who try to understand requirements of a customer and tell these requirements on a language that is understood by developers, because developers speak another language than customers, very different language, and developers cannot remember all the requirements from the customer. So business analysts, they speak a lot with the customer. So if you like communication, then probably development is not very right direction for you. If you like communication, think of business analysis. And this doesn't require extensive technology knowledge. It requires some, but not extensive. And business analysis require good language, good communication, thoroughness to details, and understanding of complex systems. It's very different to what development needs. And again, I call you, if you have these skills, probably analysis will be better for you. And from business analysis, people usually go to product management or to project management. And again, I didn't see any university or academy that teach business analysis here. While I think if we see that IT will develop here in Uzbekistan, there will be huge need in business analysts. Huge need, because now IT and customers speak different languages, and there will be a need in translators, a lot of translators, and then in project managers. And you will not become a project manager. You cannot come to a company and say, "Hi, I have a courses of project management. Let me be a project manager." Never. You will never be a project manager right from the scratch. You need to be someone before it. And if you want to be a project manager, if you want to rule people, then go probably for business analyst first. Yeah, that's probably it for usual professions. And now just several words on emerging ones. AI, ML, big data. Everyone wants to have data analytics and so on and so forth in their portfolio. Be careful here. AI, ML, big data requires good knowledge of Python or mathematics. So you need to have strong math mind, you need to understand R, you need to understand Python, and you need to work with a lot of data without being distracted. So if you can be distracted from something like every hour, and if you cannot concentrate on a thing for more than like 2 or 3 hours, it's not for you, because it requires sometimes, I'm a specialist in artificial intelligence, sometimes it requires concentration for 8 hours without breaks, just because you have all links between data in your mind. So, and the trap here is it's very, very interesting profession. AI, ML, big data, data analysis, these are 3 different professions actually. So you can be AML specialist, you can be big data specialist working with big data, Hadoop or something like that, and you could be data analyst. So do not try to catch 3 rabbits. Choose your one. You have to have knowledge of 3 but basic ones, but you need to choose just one. And here's the problem also, that if programmers are required in big amounts, data analysts, AI/ML specialists are required not in big amounts. So fewer people are required to perform this job, much fewer people. And so you need to be masters in that to get a job and to develop in it. So if you here just for hype for AML, probably you will be very disappointed very, very soon. That's probably it. Last one thing about frameworks and platforms. I initially said that we don't like developing people in frameworks and platforms, but still some people prefer to teach framework, to teach some platform. For example, if they know PHP, they want to know Magento to become e-commerce specialist. If they know C#, they want to know Sitecore to become Sitecore specialist, or Dynamics, or SAP, or 3, or something like that. It's interesting way. It will allow you to earn a lot of money until this product and technology is popular, and until you are mastering it. So initially, you will have huge investments, then probably huge money if this platform is still alive, and then no money. So be careful with what you choose as your next step. I'm still for fundamental knowledges because they will help you in any direction, in any platform, in any language you choose. Thanks. Do we have time for questions?
After 5 years or 10 years later, what the company wants to achieve, what you will see at a place in IT industry. I mean, I want to know something like your strategy, company strategy.
Okay, thanks. When we're opening office here, I said that now we are multi-regional company that in different parts of the world. And I said that next step is multi-continental or intercontinental company. As a company, we developed this strategy and we're implementing it. We have opened 2 different locations just this year, and we are going to open another location. I won't tell where yet and when, but we're looking for it. We're developing it. Probably in the next 2 years we will do that. So we have a vision of developing across the globe, first of all. Then we want to still be innovative company, so we will develop, and we are developing in AI, ML, blockchain, big data, enterprise systems, and so on and so forth. For now, we are well known in fintech and banking, and we have opened strategical directions, I would say, to be a company that is very good in other areas. We are trying to intrude into social care area, into healthcare area, into integrators area. So we have different points of growth, and in 5 years, for 10 years, we never plan for 10 years, because it's just meaningless. You don't know what will be in 5 years. You don't know what will be in 2 years, actually. So in the nearest future, we open in new directions, new business domains, social care, healthcare, to be in top 10 for these domains, and we open in new locations. And we hope to grow in Asia, not only in Central Asia, and Uzbekistan for us is a basement to grow in Asia as well, to work not only with Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and so on, but with South Korea, for example, with probably Japan, with probably some other countries. Okay, thanks. Thanks, you are very attentive. Thank you very much. It was a real pleasure to speak to you and to like be and see you're interested in development, and I really hope you heard what I told you just today. Thank you very much. I hope to see you. Okay, I can choose one. I like the question, but I don't see. Yeah, I like the question about our failures. Yes. Yeah. That was a great question. Yeah. And probably it will be fair that Sherzod and Yıldız will choose another winners.
And I like it the most the question which was more fundamental, because I'm more business guy than IT guy. The question why you came to Uzbekistan was like interesting for me, that the guy is not only wants IT, but he also sees the picture more widely, that Uzbekistan is becoming the forepost for the IT industry. I like this question, and I think if you agree, we'll give the second present to this guy.
About strategy of company. This was the last question, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great question.